body doesn't commit to him. You can't be 28 years old, and these are not major injuries. It's nagging stuff. He has never made the commitment a Russell Wilson, a Brady, a LeBron has, and you're seeing the end result. He came into this season out of shape. Inexcusable. I know it's a condensed season, but that's okay for LeBron to use that, not a 28-year-old.
Where Colin was wrong.
Well, I guess the Clippers did not implode yet. After losing the first two games at home, I came out and said, series is over. Brush off your LinkedIn and resumes, Clipper executives. Listen, in games 6 and 7, Kawhi was literally perfect. In games 6 and 7 in the fourth quarter, Kawhi was 7 for 7 on field goals, 3 for 3 on threes, and 2 for 2 on free throws. He was perfect in the fourth quarter. He's not a verbal leader, but when he is engaged mentally and physically, there's just not much out there that compares. Kevin Durant, Kawhi, boy, the list is short. He just took over this series in the last 2-3 games.
Where Colin was right?
Well, Atlanta got a second-round pick, essentially, for Julio Jones. I said, this is what he is. I would give up a really, really late first-round pick for him, like the 28th or 29th pick. But the idea that he was, everybody's like, you got to give a first-rounder for him. First of all, he's old, has some injuries, super expensive for a wide receiver, and the NFL, frankly, is now handing us 25 to 30 more than competent wide receivers every year because the NFL now adopts college concepts. I mean, A.J. Brown walks in the league for Tennessee. He's a star. So a second-round pick. GMs now are very tentative when it comes to wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins. We all made fun of Bill O'Brien for a second-round pick, but that's overwhelmingly these GMs now. Why pay 23 for Julio Jones? I can pay $1 million and get a kid from Clemson in the third or fourth round.
Where Colin was wrong.
Blake Griffin. Where did that come from? That was the best game Blake Griffin has played for in years. In fact, I went back. When he signed with Detroit 3 years ago, I looked this morning. I said, end of Blake Griffin's career as we know it. And I was right until this weekend. He was sensational. 18 points, 14 rebounds, played a little defense, and hit 4 threes. Maybe he's relaxed playing in this system. Maybe Steve Nash. I mean, the dude couldn't shoot for most of his career. The confidence Blake Griffin shot the ball in game 1, I'm sorry. If that's what you get with Blake Griffin, Brooklyn's in the finals. If that's what you're getting now, that was impressive.
Where Colin was right?
Mac Jones, Patriot quarterback. Ugly OTA. Multiple reporters saying his body needs to fill out. His arm isn't very lively. Jarrett Stidham reportedly had a better practice and an OTA than the first-round quarterback from Alabama. This is always my concern with Alabama quarterbacks. They never trail in a college game. They always play with a lead. The wide receivers are all first-round picks. The offensive line is all NFL. They never get touched. They always have a great running game behind them. And, oh, yeah, they have Nick Saban. So they have the best scheme going into games. That's not the NFL. That is, even with Belichick, Tom Brady had to come from behind a lot. Tom Brady got hit. Tom Brady's wide receivers weren't open. Alabama quarterback play is the opposite of NFL quarterback play, and Mac Jones so far doesn't look the part.
Where Colin was wrong.
Well, I said before the year, boy, was I wrong. Lakers own the offseason. Yeah, that's not true. Dennis Schroeder, who I think is really talented, hot and cold. You don't know what you get. Marc Gasol, playoff career lows, appears to be mostly shot. Montrezl Harrell got in the doghouse, so he was a complete non-factor, and I've always liked him as an off-the-bench athletic big. Wesley Matthews, I thought these were hits. And in the end, none of them really fit. And don't expect any of them back.
Where Colin was right?
I said, Green Bay GM Mark Murphy and the GM, because it's the Midwest and a small town, they're getting letters to their office and emails telling them nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. Mark Murphy admitted this weekend, I'll read you the quote, Aaron has divided our fan base. The emails and, quote, letters that I've received, nobody sends letters anymore. I said, I guarantee it, they're getting letters and emails from fans. He said, the less the both sides say publicly, the better. But we're receiving letters and emails in the last month, and it has completely divided our fan base. This is why I have said I would submit to you Green Bay's playing hardball. They are hearing from local fans who are saying, let him go. He's not us. He's Hollywood. He's abandoned us. And it is playing a part. We thought it was. There it is.
Where Colin was wrong.
My NBA face bracket was a disaster. Probably the last time we do it. So the entire Western Conference was wrong 0 for 7. My NBA champ, Lakers, Gonzo. This is where I pick. I think the face bracket's done. 0 for 7 in the West. I pick teams based on the best player. So we call it the face bracket. And in the history of the face bracket, it's had good tournaments and bad tournaments. Disaster. May have to shelf it, at least until the NFL season.
Where Colin was right?
Well, when LeBron came to L.A., I said, folks, it's going to be 50% basketball and 50% mogul stage. It's not the same. It's not that he's not great, but he's not as agonized when he loses games. He's just not. You can see him on the bench. He lost a first-round series, first time ever, and 10 minutes later was talking about his big movie Space Jam.
No, I think I'm gonna play for the Toon Squad this summer instead of the Olympics. I think that's what that's my focus on trying to beat the Monstars or the Goon Squad, we call them now. So didn't have much success versus Suns. So now I am gearing my attention to the Goon Squad here in mid-July. So I'm gonna let the ankle rest for about a month, and then I'm gonna gear up with Lola, Taz, Granny, Bugs, and the rest of the crew. So hopefully see y'all at the match.
Yeah, that would not be Magic or Kobe. That's just not kind of the way the Lakers do it. I don't think Laker fans appreciate that, but it's the reality. He had better options. Philly wanted him. Houston, well, everybody wanted him. And in the end, he chose where business would be great. And for the record, it has been great for LeBron.
Where Colin was right?
Soccer snobs, and that's almost 90% of American soccer fans, hate it when guys like me, who aren't as committed as them, can figure things out quickly in this sport. Christian Pulisic is easily the best soccer talent America's had since he was 18 years old. You watched him yesterday against Mexico. He is a ravishing talent. We've never had anything like him. I know Landon Donovan. I like Landon Donovan. He's not that. Pulisic and a band of very young players are the best talent we've ever. I've been watching soccer since Kyle Rote. None of you know who that is, right? That's who they used to push us. It was a big soccer star in America. Kyle Rote Jr. Look it up. It's not that I knew Pulisic instantly was the best talent, but I was willing to go all in on it. I said, I don't want to hear about Landon Donovan. I don't want to hear about any of these guys. I don't want to hear about Clint Dempsey. Christian Pulisic is so far and away the best American soccer talent we've ever had. And finally, there's 3 or 4 other players who are in his galaxy, and why I do believe the next World Cup